The Educator Effectiveness Committee meeting is called to order. And may we have a roll call, please?
Okay. Dr. Bopey? Dr. Bopey is not present. Mr. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Davis is present. Ms. Edmondson? Here. Ms. Edmondson is present. Mr. Garvey? Here. Mr. Garvey is present. Ms. Holloway?
Present.
Ms. Holloway is present. Dr. Jones?
Present.
Dr. Jones is present. Ms. Lewis? Present. Ms. Lewis is present. Ms. Orange Jones? Ms. Orange Jones is not present. Mr. Rock?
Present.
Mr. Rock is present. Dr. Thomason?
Present.
Dr. Thomason is present. Ms. Bolche?
Here.
Ms. Bolche is present. Ms. Stumps?
Present.
Ms. Stumps is present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. First item, please.
Your consent agenda is ready for approval, adding items 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, and 6.5.
May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Do we have any objection? A second. Second, I'm sorry. The motion was by Ms. Holloway and the second was by Mr. Davis. I'm just now waking up, so. All right. Did we have any other item on? All right. Okay. There's no objection to approving the consent agenda?
All right, your first item is on page 125, item 4.1, consideration of the Early Childhood Ancillary Certificate Program proposal submitted by Volunteers of America Greater Baton Rouge. The department recommendation is to approve.
Okay, and I believe we have a public comment card on that. And that is Karen Powell. Oh, I'm sorry, I need a motion to address that item, please.
So moved.
Okay, we had a motion by Ms. Voce and a second by Ms. Edmondson. All right, now then, Ms. Karen Powell, please. Lauren, please introduce yourself. Is your mic on?
Make sure the green light is.
There's a, okay,
No, just push the Got it.
thank you.
Good morning. I'm Karen Powell of Volunteers of America Greater Baton Rouge. I'm the director of our child care resource and referral work there in the Greater Baton Rouge area. And I'm very happy to be with you today to talk about our teacher preparation program. For over 20 years, Volunteers of America Greater Baton Rouge has served our community by providing high-quality professional development of child care teachers to support improvement of child outcomes and thus build healthier communities for tomorrow. We are very excited about this new opportunity to build upon that foundational work by preparing to offer a very carefully designed, incrementally progressing, cohesive program that will train child care lead teachers in the foundational principles of child development and in best practices for teacher-child interactions. This program that we're offering will be the most in-depth, comprehensive training that these teachers, these candidates, have ever had in early brain development and in early child development, whether it's cognitive development, social development, and other early literacy development. It's important for teachers to understand development at every stage from birth to 5, and that's what our program will offer. They have to understand what stage of development the children in their care have when they enter that teacher's classroom in order to meet the children where they are, and they also have to understand what are the next expected typical stages of development to help children advance to those stages. So our program is going to draw upon the expertise of multiple staff trainers and coaches who have extensive expertise not only with early childhood care and education, but who also have extensive backgrounds in the child care industry and understand our candidates' actual experiences, challenges, motivations, and needs. In developing our program, we also have close relationships with all the early childhood community networks that we serve, and so we're engaging those networks' leaderships, as well as the child care teachers that have been offering high-quality instruction through Quality Start for many years now. Our vision for this high-quality teacher preparation program is a program that's based upon adult learning principles, strengths-based instruction, mentoring, and coaching. And so what we're doing is we're blending content and practice in a very supportive environment that meets the challenges and the apprehension that a lot of these candidates will bring with them into the program. What candidates will be learning in weekly seminar meetings will be complemented by regular on-the-job, one-on-one coaching that we'll do with them in their workplaces, meetings in small professional learning communities so they learn from their peers, observations of their interactions with children, and as we said, one-on-one mentoring to help them develop a comprehensive professional portfolio when they finish and be fully capable and confident about meeting the needs of the children in their care. So we're very excited to begin this program with your approval later this year.
Thank you. Any questions of board members? Yes, Ms. Voce.
I have a question. I guess maybe Superintendent White could possibly answer it. This early childhood ancillary certificate that will be issued to people that exit the program, that would make them eligible to teach in what environment? Is it just child care, or is it any pre-K program, whether it's school-based, child care-based, or?
Well, we've not changed requirements for LA4, but for child care we had to create some modicum of something that was relatively parallel to Head Start requirements and LA4 requirements. And so this credential is an attempt to begin to replicate requirements in other fields for child care educators. This requirement does not phase in for several years. It won't be an official requirement until 2019. I believe the requirement itself was probably passed a year ago, and this is part of selecting the provider. So it is a child care specific domain, so it doesn't eradicate or change requirements in other areas.
Okay, so just child care centers
Yeah.
is what you're making. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member questions? Is there any objection to the motion to approve? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 148, item 4.2, consideration of the Early Childhood Ancillary Certificate Program proposal submitted by Children's Coalition. The department recommendation is to approve.
May I have a motion, please? Motion to approve. So moved by Ms. Emerson, second by Mr. Davis. We have a speaker card in favor of this. Leslie Neal, I hope I get this right, Bose? Booze. And I'm going to ask you to keep your remarks to 3 minutes, please, all of the speakers. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, my name is Leslie Neal Booth. I'm from Children's Coalition of Monroe, Louisiana. I'm here to let you know that the Children's Coalition Institute is much needed for the future demands of educators in early childhood. In Northeast Louisiana, Children's Coalition served 11 parishes from East Carroll to Caldwell to Madison and to Union, and all parishes in between. Children's Coalition is dedicated to training teachers towards their CDA and Louisiana Ancillary Teaching Certificate. How will this institution help the candidate? The candidate may choose to specialize with the early childhood spectrum of infants, toddlers, or preschool. Within this program, candidates have the foundation for professional practice of curriculum that culturally respectful and responsive, and in-depth field experience in high-quality child care centers. Just as children learn best from teachers who use responsive and intentional strategies, adult students learn from instructors who create a caring community of learners, teachers to enhance, develop, and learning outcomes. The instructors, directors, and teachers' mentors will assess candidates' growth, development related to those outcomes and build positive relationship with students and other stockholders in the program. What does this mean for the children? When young children have teachers who are instructional sound, they provide an environment that is conducive to learning, that create environments that are healthy, responsive, supportive, and challenging for each child. Candidates will be able to demonstrate their belief in young children's ability to learn and to show that they can use their understanding of early childhood development to help each child understand and make from his or her experience through play, spontaneous activities, and guided learning. What does this mean for Northeast Louisiana communities? We prepare candidates to possess essential skills that prepare them for the workforce. By completing the program, candidates will have the requirements that is needed to work in early childhood. This program will help with the retention of employees. I hope that you consider Children's Coalition Institute as a solid program that will benefit candidates, children, families, and the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of board members? Any objections to the motion? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 166, item 4.3, consideration of the Early Childhood Ancillary Certificate Program proposal submitted by Northwestern State University. The department recommendation is to approve.
May I have a motion? Mrs. Holloway, and a second by Mrs. Edmondson. We have a card on this. Ms. Nancy Alexander, representing Northwestern State.
I'm Director of Child and Family Network, which is a part of the College of Education at Northwestern, formerly with Family and Consumer Sciences. And our proposal includes two options for various types of students. The first option will include 3 online classes. These we anticipate being primarily first-generation college students, people who are working in child care, your non-traditional students, and so there is a good bit of built-in coaching, very practical experiences with those online college classes, and in some cases there will be face-to-face meetings as well. The second option for those who aren't ready to aspire for college credit will be more traditional face-to-face, non-college credit classes with more coaching, following a very similar pattern in terms of content, but with additional coaching to help them succeed. We know that many of the people working in child care today at best may have a high school diploma, and yet we know this is critical to the future of our state. It's an economic issue. Not only do parents have to have their children in good care, but it's certainly an educational impact. We're hearing a lot today about the 30 million word gap, which is some research that's been done about the differences in the language that young children hear, and we know that relates to literacy. So much of the content of these 2 courses will build on not only infant toddler care as well as preschoolers to help the people who are caring for our young children do the best job that they can. We applaud the Department of Ed for developing the ancillary certificate program and moving forward with this, because I've worked in child care for many, many years in various capacities, and as such, this is a huge step forward in improving the quality of programs that we work with. It's just critical to our young children.
Thank you. Are there any questions of board members? Any objection to the motion? Motion carries. Next item.
Your next item is on page 200, item 4.4, consideration of the Early Childhood Ancillary Certificate Program proposal submitted by Agenda for Children. The department recommendation is to approve.
May I have a motion? Mr. Rock, and seconded by Mr. Thompson. We have a speaker card in favor, Mr. Tony Ricasner from Agenda for Children. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning. Tony Ricasner, CEO of Agenda for Children. Agenda for Children has provided resource and referral services in the 16 parishes in southeast Louisiana for the past 25 years. Similar to the proposals of my colleagues, we are greatly appreciative of the opportunity to participate in such an exciting endeavor on behalf of training future generations of early childhood professionals. Our program is very similar in characteristics to the programs that have just been described. Again, we've got lots of experience in this area. We're generating lots of excitement about this opportunity across the state, and we're looking forward to many years of generating high-quality professionals to work with the youngest learners in our state. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from board members? Any objection to the motion? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 224, item 4.5, consideration of the Master of Arts in Teaching Alternative Path to Certification Program proposal submitted by Loyola University. The department recommendation is to approve.
May I have a motion, please? Mrs. Voce, and I need a second. Mrs. Holloway. And we have a card from Dr. Jane Chauvin from Loyola University, and it's in favor.
Good morning. I'm here simply to say that Loyola University, with the help of the State Department of Education, particularly Ms. Julie Stevenson, designed this program taking into consideration many of the new things that have been advocated by the Believe and Prepare program. It is a competency-based program with experiences that are embedded out in the schools from the very first course to the last. It also incorporates a 2-semester internship or student teaching to give students certified under this program the full breadth of the school year. We chose to design this program based on the numerous inquiries we had about the availability of such a certification avenue from alums, from recent graduates who wished they had been certified while they were in school, and also individuals in the New Orleans community who wished to re-career. Given the large number of retirements and the vacancies that exist, we feel that this is another avenue of bringing well-prepared and interested individuals to the field of education. Thank you very much.
Any questions, Ms. Voce?
Just a comment, Dr. Chauvin, I would hope that through this program that y'all would expand your geographical area a little bit and include St. Bernard Parish and Jefferson and some of the surrounding areas in New Orleans to place some of these candidates as well, because we would be very interested with the teacher shortages at the secondary level.
And we are
Participation
happy
in
to
these
do so.
programs.
Historically, our student teachers, for instance, were placed in all of those areas. And as the program grows, we have absolutely no hesitation to do so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Other questions? Any objection to the motion? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 296, item 5.1, consideration of revisions to Bulletin 746, Louisiana Standards for State Certification of School Personnel, pursuant to Act 130 of 2016 legislative session. The department recommendation is to approve as notice of intent.
Since I would like to ask some questions, I'm going to yield to Mr. Edmondson on this item.
Okay, Dr. Jones, would you like to go ahead?
Do we need a motion?
We need a motion for you to be able to speak.
No, a motion.
Program.
For the program.
I'm sorry.
A motion to approve.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve? Ms. Holloway, second. Mr. Rock, okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Just members, this is law was passed this session, authored by Representative Hoffman from Monroe. That law requires the creation of a special education leadership credential, which allows for a specific pathway for those special educators who do not have a traditional teaching license to nevertheless achieve a supervisory certificate. There has been a concern expressed that this may exist within a traditional path, thus allowing someone to, upon 5 years of having their education leadership level 1 certificate to then essentially attain a superintendent level certificate. This is not, however, as it's created in your bulletin, a credential that exists within that pathway. We have created it outside of that pathway, so it is a standalone credential and does not itself lead to a level 2 certificate upon review after 5 years of maintaining the certificate. So I don't know whether that is Dr. Jones's question or not, but I recognize that's something that was on people's minds. And again, I would come back to the fact that there is now a law that requires this to be in place, and that is the chief motivation for putting this on the books.
Dr. Jones.
I actually like this. I really do, because in my years as superintendent, it was very difficult to find qualified people to head the Department of Special Services, and so I think it's a good idea. But where I have some concerns, and you know, my concerns would be resolved if it was spelled out in here specifically that upon renewal they still have a Ed Leader 1 ancillary certificate, or an ancillary certificate that's strictly restricted to these things. My concern is, and you've addressed it partially there, I just, as I read it, I don't see it formally in writing, and so I think at some point in the future it may come up. But these people here are very qualified people in the area in which they're going to get that ancillary certificate. I don't think they have the breadth and depth of experience to ultimately switch on over to a principal or a superintendent or a supervisor of instruction and so forth without further background. So my only concern is that it be clear in here that certificate is an ancillary certificate specifically for special education department. I don't know how you would amend that, or if you can show me that it is in fact clear in there, then I would yield on that point and would gladly vote for it.
I suppose that we have, by calling it an ancillary certificate, and so it would be in paragraph A, where it says the educational leader in special education ancillary certificate authorizes it, and I think that our assumption has been that by referring to it as an ancillary certificate rather than as the Ed Leader certificate, that gets you there. If we need to provide further, if we want to amend the language to strengthen it, though, Dr. Jones, I think we could certainly do that.
Okay, I think, as I say, down in item C there, under the renewal guidelines, to me, it basically calls for the same renewal guidelines as it calls for our regular Ed Leader 1 to Ed Leader 2 level, and that's where my concern is. So, you know, if we could just add a sentence or something saying that it is ancillary only. I mean, the reason I'm so concerned about this is last month one of your committees actually rejected a request for a license based on exactly on this, and it was an ancillary certificate that someone was asking to get an Ed Leader certificate for, and they were denied that because of the language in place at the time that they couldn't.
Could we add a sentence that says such a renewal shall only constitute a renewal of the ancillary certificate and shall not constitute eligibility for an education leadership certificate of another variety?
That would make me very happy, and I'll make that motion to make that amendment if it's possible.
Do I hear a second?
Second, yes.
Ms. Holloway? Motion approved. Now what do I want to do?
Vote on the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No objection? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emerson. Since we paid for that job by the hour, you didn't earn very much. Next item, please.
Your next item is on page 342, item 6.6, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana ancillary artist drama teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Ms. Felicia Diaz. The department recommendation is to grant or deny.
The recommendation is against, I'm sorry?
To grant or deny.
To grant or deny. Okay. All right. I need a motion to that effect. Let's have a technical moment here. Mr. Davis, what do you? A motion to grant or deny, okay.
I'm gonna grant a motion to deny.
Motion to deny. Okay, we have a motion to deny. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, Mr. Jada made the motion to second, and now it's time for discussion. So, okay. Do you have any questions of her or any? No one has a question? Okay, well, I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak then. All right, yes, ma'am.
Good morning, committee. Thank you for today. I just want to go ahead and say that as far as the records review is concerned, I hope that it is granted. I just want to talk about what I have accomplished since this incident happened in 2001. And I've gone on to achieve a bachelor's degree. I'm about 6 hours away from my master's degree. And I've heavily involved myself in community theater and the arts. I volunteer with urban students, since I am also from an urban background. I've indulged myself in helping the community with students, working with them. My church, I'm heavily involved in my church. I have I was 19 when this happened, so it happened a really long time ago. So I've really been able to come into my identity and who I am as a person, and the people that I'm able to make sure I surround myself with, positivity and character. So I've really gone on to redeem this unfortunate incident, this blemish, but I am looking forward to moving forward with my career and all the possibilities that they have, because I do have a lot to offer to students here in Louisiana. Thank you.
Any board members now have a question?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Yes,
Ms.
what
Evans?
have you been doing in the interim? What have you been gainfully employed?
Yes, I worked as a paraprofessional for the last 5 years on and off with EPR schools.
Okay.
So I've been doing that. I've done substitute teaching as well. I've worked for a Big Buddy, which is an after-school program. I've always worked with children.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is there any objection to the motion as adopted?
What was the motion?
The motion was to deny. Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, please.
Your next item is on page 368, item 6.7, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana Career and Technical Trade and Industrial Education Certificate appropriate to the credentials of Mr. Earl Sino. The department recommendation is to grant or deny.
May I have a motion to grant or deny?
I move to grant it.
I think.
Okay, Ms. Holloway moves to grant, and Mr. Thompson is a second. All right, let's see. Do any board members have any questions they'd like to ask before he speaks, or you want to let him speak first? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Earl Sino, of course. Earl Sino, it's pronounced Sino. Earl Sino, of course. I have accomplished over the years, I've been a paramedic now for 11 years with the state of Louisiana and also throughout Texas. I've been given the opportunity within the Plaquemines Parish school system to also teach as a degree substitute science teacher for the last 3 years, middle school. I basically wanted to move into the high school era because I saw the need for positive role models in the high school system. And the school system there, with Ms. Monica Wirtz, who was one of my mentors, she actually gave me the opportunity to teach the Career Technology Health Education program last semester, which was the patient care technician, and I really enjoyed doing that. And the students actually enjoyed it, and they were, they prompt for their certification. 2 of them passed, which was made me happy. I've also been, I'm enrolled, I've taken the CTTIE Level 1 certification course over at Northwestern University. December, I completed that. And I am going to prompt full certification. I was in the alt certification program at Southern University, New Orleans, and I would like to continue to do that and become a full-fledged science teacher. Thank you.
Any board members have a question? Mr. Thomason? Dr. Thompson, excuse me.
Did you receive a pardon from the state for the offense that you was convicted of?
Could you pull your mic a little closer? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Did you receive a pardon from the state?
Yes, sir, I did. It
Okay,
should be in the records.
Okay. And I just wanted the circumstances. I know it's been over 15 years, but what was the circumstances behind this week's?
The circumstances have been a lesson learned, and basically telling someone, being a role model, actually. Hey, this is not what you want to do. This is definitely not what you want to do. Graduating top of my class, better than top 10, but 10% of my class. I would, if I had to look back, I would wash myself clean.
And then I just wanted to say we appreciate your time with the Air Force, too.
Thank you, sir. I enjoyed my time in the Air Force.
One question that I have, did your problem happen before you went into the Air Force or after you got out of the Air Force? After.
Yes.
See, I knew they didn't do as good a job of teaching as we do in the Army, so I'm joking. The motion was to approve, motion was to approve. Are there any objections to the motion? Congratulations, sir, and good luck on your career.
Thank you, sir.
Your next item is on page 396. Item 6.8, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana teaching certificate appropriate to the credentials of Mr. Michael D. Watson, Jr. The department recommendation is to grant or deny.
Move to grant.
Your motion is to grant?
Second.
And have a second by Ms. Edmondson. Is the person here?
Has Mr. Watson come into the building? He is not present.
Okay. In light of that, I need to speak on this before we do. If we're going to do it without the person here, I have a little concern here, and I want to be sure that I'm right. There's a mix in this bag. The person is not here, but if you look in the record that's attached to it, it was a crime that was initially charged, a violent crime with weapons, I believe, and then it was plea bargained down to a lesser crime. And I'm kind of conflicted because I know the people very well that wrote the letters of recommendation for him, and I have great regard for those people. But this is something involving a firearm, and I'm really cautious about it. Yes, Doris?
I'd like to, if I can, withdraw my motion since the applicant is not present at this time.
Okay.
And maybe we could defer it until.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to defer till August. Do I have a second? Ms. Holloway? Thank you. I'm much more comfortable with that. I have to tell you, I was struggling. All right. Next item, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Any objection to the motion? Okay. None? Motion carries.
Your next item is on page 433. Item 6.9, consideration of a records review regarding the issuance of a Louisiana Ancillary Counselor Certificate appropriate to the credentials of Mr. Tommy Powell III. The department recommendation is to grant or deny.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to grant.
Mr. Rock moves to grant. Do we have a second? Mr. Holloway, seconds. I'm sorry. Okay.
I second.
All right, any questions of board members before he begins or any statement? All right, Ms. Boche?
I just need to recuse myself from this one. It's in my district.
Okay. All right. You're down to 10 now. Okay. Sir, go ahead and speak, please.
Excuse me. I just wanted to speak. First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. I just wanted to say, since the incident in 2005, I became active in the church in 2008, which was one of the things that I was neglecting and caused me to make that bad decision. Since being in the church since 2008, I've been very active with working with male youth to using my own personal experience to guide them in the right direction. Since then, I have obtained my LPC, my licensed professional counselor, through the state of Louisiana last year in March. In May of 2017, I will be getting my PhD in educational administration through Jackson State University, as well as December of this year, I will be finishing out with my teaching certificate, doing the ancillary certification through Southern University here at New Orleans.
Any questions now? All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have?
Second.
And we already had the second on, okay.
Okay.
Do we have any objection to the motion?
Okay.
Congratulations, sir, and good luck on your career.
Thank you, sir.
That concludes the agenda.
The committee is adjourned.